The topics and opinions expressed on the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4WN Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4WN Radio, its employees, or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4WN Radio.
Welcome to my radio and TV show, Debi Changes Lives. I'm Debi, your certified holistic health coach. I revitalize people's lives by helping them identify the root causes of their health and mindset issues and create a custom natural holistic strategy to address them in the areas of mind, body, and soul. As a health coach, I'm not allowed to say that I heal, treat, cure, prevent, or diagnose any diseases. I can certainly make your body more efficient by reducing symptoms. You'll feel better, be more productive, and enjoy life more. Not many people have at least 70 pounds, had a health and mindset transformation, and kept fit and trim for over a decade. I have, and I have staying power. It's been over 12 years. I even became a half marathon runner at the age of 51, when I never ran from childhood to adulthood due to foot pain. And I have done 9 half marathons so far. Mindset is the key to lasting change. As a certified holistic health coach, I do revitalize people's lives in many different areas of health and mindset. I guide them to clean, toxic-free foods and high-quality essential nutrients. My coaching is for optimizing health, whatever that may be, releasing weight efficiently when needed, and enhancing your mindset. With my clients, I help them recognize that their thoughts, feelings, emotions drive their actions and results. Sometimes good, sometimes bad. That's why it's crucial to have a positive mindset in life. It's also imperative to manage and release those low vibrational emotions such as fear, frustration, and doubt, because all they're going to do is slow you down physically, mentally, and emotionally, and spiritually. Like a hot air balloon that has balances, I help my clients release those emotional ballasts and baggage so they can uplift to a better, happier, healthier life. In turn, they are releasing their stress and also reshaping their core beliefs and getting healthier. You will see and feel the differences with my coaching programs. Ask me about them. Set up a complimentary consultation at Debi Changes Lives. That is DebiChangesLive as in Victory, ES.com/Linktree, LINKTREE. And I'll guide you to that better, happier, healthier life with custom, natural, holistic solutions unique to you in the areas of mind, body, and soul. Today, I am honored to have Lauren Raguzin, a board member and director of marketing and communications for NAMI, the National Alliance of Mental Illness in Johnson County in North Carolina. Lauren is a communication and organizational change management expert with a deep passion for helping people navigate life's most difficult challenges. With years of experience of guiding leaders and organizations through transformations, she understands the human side of change, how uncertainty, loss, and disruption can deeply impact mental health. Through her own personal journey, Lauren has become a strong advocate for health awareness and suicide prevention. She speaks openly about the emotional toll of unemployment, major life transitions, and grief, using her voice to help others feel seen, supported, and less alone. Lauren believes that communication is not just about sharing, it's about connection, empathy, and reaching people who truly need it. She is especially passionate about encouraging organizations to recognize that the mental health impact of layoffs and restructuring, and to lead with compassion. Her mission is simple and very meaningful. If she can help one person hold on, feel understood, or choose to keep going, she is living her purpose. So today we'll be discussing more than a layoff, the silent mental crisis no one talks about. So let's welcome Lauren Raguzin, board member, director of marketing and communications of the National Alliance of Mental Health Illness of Johnson County in North Carolina, to my show. Lauren, welcome to my show.
Hi, thank you so much, Debbie. It's so great to be here. I really appreciate the opportunity.
Oh, of course, this is a very important subject. I mean, there's so much unemployment and mental health issues and suicide as well. So this is a very important subject for my channel. So thank you for being here.
Yeah.
Now, Lauren, before we get into everything, can you take us back to the moment where your perspective truly changed about mental health and what led you to start speaking so openly about it?
Yeah, so it was really back in 2018. I had never been laid off from a job before, ever.
Mhm.
And I was laid off. And I thought I was fine, and I wasn't. And I went through a clinical depression for 371 days.
Wow, that's over a year.
And now that doesn't mean I was interviewing, I was going through the motions, but what I mean by that is I didn't leave my house. I didn't walk my dog. I really didn't take care of my husband. I didn't cook. I didn't clean. And I have to tell you, Debbie, I still don't know why I was so depressed. But what I can tell you is that I was very, very lucky, because 2 weeks before Christmas, it was in 2019, days 372, I woke up and I was fine, like fine.
That's cool.
So the only thing I can think of, it was God. I have a very deep faith, but there's no other explanation to me. And, when I woke up that morning, it's not like it was this miraculous message. It was, I write for a living. And what popped into my head, Lauren, you have to develop an online portfolio. So I got up that morning, I walked my dog, I walked in the front door, and my husband said, "What's going on?" Because he hadn't seen me leave the house. And he's like, "Are you okay?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm fine." And he goes, "What do you mean?" I go, "I don't know. I'm just fine. I'm not depressed anymore. I've decided I have to create an online portfolio." And once I started doing that, I was like, wow, I'm very talented. Why am I so depressed? Why am I like, but this is what I've come to realize. What I've come to realize, when you're laid off, it's a grieving process, because we spend more time with the people that we work with than our own families. Yeah. And then you're laid off, and then no one talks to you because they don't know what to say, or they don't know, or maybe in some companies they're told you can't talk to them anymore. You never know, because there's always there was one situation. I worked at a company many years ago, and we were told, you can't talk to that person. And I think sometimes some companies have, I don't know, maybe they're all very like lawsuit, afraid. I don't know. But what I can tell you is that when you're in such a depression as I was, it's like you spiral deeper into a black hole. Yeah, and I think what it is, it's the isolation, because now LinkedIn, and there's a lot more people helping now. But back then, I would see a job that I thought was good for me. I would reach out to someone, just asking them to get me on the radar screen. Crickets. Wouldn't hear back from them. So when things like that happen to you, and when you don't have like interaction with people like you did when you worked, I think it wreaks havoc in your head, basically. And what you said in the opening, and I'm sure you work with clients about this, everything is about your mindset.
It is. People overthink, and that just, they go down the spiral on that.
Yes.
And it's amazing, even with our young, people going out of college, they have issues because it's not exactly easy to get a job these days.
Yes.
And it's hard on them too. I mean, you got to think about what the pandemic did to everybody.
Yeah.
It isolated everybody.
Yeah.
And so it's like a learning skills that people didn't really learn, that they should have learned during high school and college. And
right.
So, life change is difficult on people.
Yes.
Whatever it is.
Yes. And now, to answer your question, this is what happened. So in developing this portfolio, I've also taught undergraduate and graduate school, for
Okay.
like 10, 15 years. So I was talking to a friend and she said, Lauren, what do you want to do? I said, teach. She said, then Lauren, go and teach. And I wasn't pursuing the teaching because I thought, well, what if I get a full-time job? I don't want to start something I can't finish it. But I just decided, you know what? I'm going to do that. I found a job. I applied. Within 2 days, they reached out. They asked me to come in and do a teaching demo, which I did on networking. And I was deliriously happy. I wasn't getting paid a lot of money. I was commuting like an hour both ways, 3 times a week. My husband was furious. He's like, do you understand that you're wasting more money in gas than they're paying you? And I said, I do, but I'm happy. And 2 weeks after starting, a recruiter called me, and a month later, I had a full-time job. So what I would say about that is I think there is an aura, that people can sense.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're like very happy, that comes across.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I was fine. Now, flash forward, this is where the mental health came. Flash forward 2021, my best friend died by suicide.
Oh,
And,
sorry about that.
yes, and I was the last one to speak to her. I had no idea that was going to be the last time I spoke to her.
Mm-hmm.
And I had guilt for like 5 years because I felt like I should have called the police. I did not because I was afraid it was going to cause more problems for her. And I was just, I had such guilt, Debbie. Like it was like it ate at me, and people helped me get through it. And then basically what happened was I decided to, in 2022, I decided to write about my experience being laid off and everything I felt.
Mm-hmm.
And it's published in a book, and we'll talk about that in a few minutes. And it was a very cathartic thing for me. It was very healing. But the reason I did it is because I wanted people to know that they weren't alone.
Yes.
And so that happened in 2022. And then my husband was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer in 2023.
Mm-hmm.
So I was his full-time caregiver. And then once I got him to a point in 2024, I joined as a board member the National Alliance of Mental Illness. And I've basically been doing marketing communications for them. But just last year, there was another board member who joined as suicide awareness and prevention.
Okay.
So I did a 25-part social media campaign with him. It's all on LinkedIn. And that's what healed me, because I thought about the pain my friend must have had to take her life. And then he tried to attempt suicide twice. And by interviewing him and going through that exercise, I was able to think about my own pain. Like, I never would have taken my life, but some days I didn't want to wake up, so I was never at the point where I was going to do harm to myself.
Mm-hmm.
But by interviewing, his name's Alex Lockley, he's an amazing human being. It healed me. And I realized there was nothing I could have done to save my girlfriend's life. Nothing.
She made a choice.
Yes.
I was in a similar situation. It wasn't really suicide, but somebody decided to die. Mm-hmm. So it was really hard on me. But it's, and you always mourn, people once a year or whatever, you know what I mean? Sometimes it doesn't go away.
Yeah.
But my whole point is that I had no idea of an illness this person had.
Mm.
And I was trying to figure out what was going on.
Yeah.
And then he passed away. But he really, afterwards, I found out some information, and he made a choice to do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's what's really sad. But anyways, in life, people do make a choice to pass on.
Yeah.
So, especially when they're older, it's like, I've had enough.
Right.
So, well, you've been very open about your personal journey, and what changed everything for you and shaped you, why you wanted to become a mental health advocate. Was that the work you did with?
So I think, because when I was taking care of my husband, I had to take a caregiving break because, I couldn't work. I needed to really focus on him. And then what I realized is, now the interesting thing is I've never been depressed again in my life. So clearly that was something I had to go through. But what I learned, even when I was going through that depression, and even, for years, I made a pact with myself that I would always help people find a job. And so my whole brand on LinkedIn and Facebook is all about uplifting and inspiring and motivating people.
Mm-hmm.
And the only reason I got through anything, in my life is because I practice gratitude. And
Yes,
we can always, I even have this right here. So here's my little gratitude jar.
journal. I'll be talking a little bit about that later.
And I usually try, I have multiple jars. And I do, at the end of the day or in the morning, I always write down something that I'm grateful for. And then at the end of the year, it's very cool because I put it all on my bed and I look at them and I date them. And I think that is the key to getting through anything difficult in your life, because there's always something we can be grateful for. And when you do that, you retrain your mind to think positively.
Yes, and that's what I do every day.
Yeah.
I do it morning and night, actually. I do it at night, and
Yeah.
when I wake up, I do it again. So,
Yes.
because it just uplifts you.
Yes.
And when you're in that higher vibration, like happiness, that's when things kind of came to you, just to let you know.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
you're vibrating that happiness out there.
It's all about energy, I think. It really is all about energy.
It is about energy. Exactly. Exactly. Now, you became a strong voice for mental health and suicide awareness as well.
Yeah.
Can you share a little bit of that journey that led you there? And I think you shared a little bit, but is there any more?
Yeah, I would say, initially I wanted to join NAMI because of what I went through, but it was really because of my girlfriend. Because
Yes.
I wanted to, I used to donate. She loved dogs. So I used to donate on the day that she passed and then her birthday to this, nonprofit dog charity.
Mm-hmm.
And then I decided my first book that I published, I donated the money to NAMI because I'm in anthology books, so I don't make money from the books.
Mm-hmm.
But what I would say is that because I think I went through a very serious depression, and, when my friend took her own life, I wasn't mad at her. I think a lot of times people get mad at people who do that. They think it's selfish, but I can tell you, Debbie, having had that feeling and knowing what Lisa went through and what Alex, the board member, went through, it's not selfish. It's a pain that you can't even begin to understand how it overtakes you. And the only thing that gives you peace is coming up with a plan to end the pain. So I feel that, my journey is more about, it's really about now, it's very much about the job market, because I went into that depression because I couldn't find a job.
Mm-hmm.
I went into that depression because no one was helping me.
Mm-hmm.
And so I now, because I've learned through NAMI and training, I can now go on LinkedIn and I can look at a post and I know if that person is like, they're going to hurt themselves. And then I reach out to them. I do this with strangers all the time, because what I've realized is very often it's not about the job. Like, I don't even talk to them about how I can help network. They just need to feel heard and seen and valued.
Yes, they do.
Because they're in such isolation. And you go from having all this human connection to zero.
Mm-hmm.
So I do feel that everything I've been through, like I have deep faith in God. I mean, this is my purpose in life. I really believe.
Mm-hmm.
Now I still have to work for a living, and I love writing, but this absolutely will always be something that I will do and support, because I know what it feels like.
Yeah, I've been through depression as well. And it started off with, having multiple miscarriages and lost a baby in a car accident. And then work related as well. I gained 70 pounds. That's how I gained the 70 pounds.
Wow.
But I got so much happier when I started losing the weight, because I started shedding all that off, and I was taken off of depression medication because I was happier. So, but the doctor took me off of medication. I didn't go cold turkey. My whole point is that there is a light at the end of the tunnel, no matter what it is. There's always something positive on the other side of your life that you're living. I'm going to tell you that much. And I didn't know what that was going to be. I just kind of went with it. But it's interesting how God kind of puts you in different paths. And I became a certified holistic health coach. And I was I'm more like a mind-body coach because my mindset coaching. Right. So that's why, I understand depression. I understand where people are coming from. And I am very empathetic. I feel it. And sometimes I feel it way too much. So I have to put up a little guard, so to speak. But yeah, it's something that people can really get out of if they really want to. Again, they need to make a choice.
Yeah. I think, what I think is pain absolutely turns into purpose. And, so much so that, I'm still going to be very involved with NAMI, but, I'm actually going to probably step down in my role as Director of Marketing Communications because I'm very focused on getting trained as a facilitator so I can start a suicide awareness and support group.
Yes.
That's really why I joined NAMI. Like, my passion has always been suicide because of my friend Lisa. And it's what you said when you introduced me. If they're like, when I try to help people on LinkedIn or I just talk to people, if I can help one person not take their life, then I've done what I would like to do. And it's just my sole purpose in life is just uplifting people and helping them because, like you said, but when you're in the thick of it, you don't see the other side. You don't see the rainbow because you're so in it. And that's where your mind, you have to retrain your mind to be positive. And I found that, as depressed as I would be, I would be helping people or talking to them. And my husband would say, honey, you need a job. Stop talking to people. But he didn't understand that was my part. That was therapy for me.
That was helping you.
Yes. Because at the end of the day, I felt like I did something positive.
Yes, exactly. Because people do have blinders on. And you just need to open that up so they can see possibilities because there are possibilities, there's infinite possibilities. So now, when someone feels completely alone, like they don't think they matter anymore, what's one thing you want to truly help them understand?
This is what I always tell people to do. When someone is feeling very, very low about themselves, I say, okay, do this. Send a text or an email to someone that you know well and ask them to tell you 3 of your superpowers. Because when you do that, you can't help but feel good because you're being validated, and that is the whole problem when you're going through anything difficult. You're not getting validation or approval from anyone, and you can't see how wonderful you are. So that's just one of the things that I tell people to do. But the other thing I tell people to do is go and do something that brings you peace, even if it's just 5 minutes. Something once a day. Stop looking for a job. Stop thinking about the what if. Stop thinking about, oh my God, if I don't get a job, this will happen. And just find 5 minutes in your day to do something that brings you peace.
Yes, that's very important because that'll slow down their thinking process. That's why deep diaphragmatic breathing is so important.
Breathing, yeah, absolutely.
Pausing, and I found something else that really helps too. But it's so important just to take time out for yourself. That's why a lot of people talk about self-love and not cut yourself down at all, because you are cutting yourself down. We are human, we are imperfect, and no matter what, You got to accept your flaws.
Yeah.
Certain flaws you have for a reason, and it's something that you can help others with, like you said, right?
Yeah.
Once you learn how to do something about it, and be aware that that we are human.
Yeah.
I remember watching a cartoon series called SpongeBob with my son.
Oh, SpongeBob. Yeah.
And there was the cartoon he was saying, I want to be normal. He had no holes as a sponge. And he was talking really weird. And you know what? That's part of our personalities. That's part of our, uniqueness.
Yeah.
And our uniqueness is what is going to make us shine. And we can help other people that don't think that way about their uniqueness, so to speak.
Yeah.
Because it's okay to be what you are. You don't need to be a Barbie doll or a Ken doll, right?
Right.
But everybody is put on this earth for a purpose.
Yes.
And it's for a good intention.
Yes.
And you just need to look to see what that good intention is.
Yes, absolutely. I so agree. And I think, we're all given gifts. And, the one gift, I always say this, that we all have is time. But it's how and I have this saying I say all the time, you prioritize what's a priority to you. So for me, it's a priority to help people who are struggling and, can't find a job in 2 years, because I know what that feels like. And I think the biggest thing is that it's presence, because that is the missing piece. When you're laid off, you're isolated, you spiral, you don't have presence or human connection. And that is the most important thing you can do.
Yeah, because they're spiraling and they don't realize they're disconnecting.
Yes.
The society. They don't realize they have spiraled into what we call a rabbit hole.
Right, exactly.
And it's a mental tornado in a way.
Yeah.
And that's ruminating.
Yeah.
That's what I say. In a lot of I do a lot of talks on stress and emotions, and I talk about rumination. Somebody said, "Oh, that's a really old word." I'm like, "That's okay. It fits." But once you break that cycle and get out of that unhappy merry-go-round, you can live a really fulfilled life.
Yes, yes.
And, but it's a matter of understanding where you are now and what you can really highlight about your worthiness.
Right.
Of yourself.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
So, and, I honestly, I got lost in my way, as I said before, but I did something about it. I made a choice. Actually, my husband gave me a gift of, a gift of life, so to speak. And I was like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to make sure I'm not wasting his money, and I got it done. And I kept it on.
That's wonderful.
And now I share that with others, and just like you. Your experience of your job loss, everyone goes through some sort of grief. I've gone through it too.
Yeah.
And we all go through life transitions. Some people go through it a little bit rougher than others.
Yeah.
But we're wiser.
Yes.
Because we've experienced it.
And I do think, I always say this to people, because I can look at my whole life and I can see exactly why every single thing happened. And, not many people can say that. Sometimes people are like questioning why this, why that, why. But, my feeling is that, if we didn't have adversity and we didn't have struggles, it wouldn't bring us to meet people we would never meet. And I think it brings you a higher level of empathy and compassion. And I just feel that shared experiences is what makes life beautiful, because you can help other people get through it because you know what it feels like.
Exactly. It's so important to share your knowledge. And, adversity is just a learning moment. It's the point in your life that you learn to grow. Exactly what we both did.
Yeah. Yeah.
We learned how to get out of depression. You got out a lot faster than I did, by the way. But that's why I said, "Wow, you did this only a year." But you did it. That's the whole point. And
Yeah.
then it kind of settled in why you're doing it and what your purpose in life is and what you need to do to help others in the community in large.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so we're similar, in what we want to do. I want to make people healthier, and I also work with mindset. But you really want to work with the tough cases, suicide. That's heart-wrenching for me.
Yeah. But I think too, and it's very interesting because I've had this conversation with a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
I really think that mental health issues stem from two things: self-worth and trauma.
Yes.
Because if you look at someone, let's say, who maybe is bipolar. Now, there's some mental health illness that, may come from like traumatic brain injury or things like that. But for example, Alex, the one I did the campaign with, okay, he first tried to take his life when he was 22. It was his birthday. And then 5 years later, when he was 27. And I asked him why. He was bullied his entire childhood. He used to come home with black eyes, chokeholds around his neck. His parents did everything they could to get the school to intervene. They didn't. So what happened is, over years and years and years, Alex just felt like he was worthless. So there he had self-worth issues and trauma.
Yeah.
And then it culminated in him wanting not to live anymore. So I'm not saying this is true for every single person.
Yeah.
But, I do think, depression usually comes from self-worth and trauma.
Yes.
And as you get older, if you don't heal from that trauma or those self-worth issues, it escalates, and, you become an adult and you don't even know where to start to fix it.
Yeah, the bullying in childhood, unfortunately, kids are not nice.
I know.
And they don't necessarily do what happened to your associate, but they do bully people. And it does. Trauma can happen to children, after the age of 4, and they don't remember it as much, but it's seeded at that time.
Yes.
And so, especially age 7. So my whole point is, you just need to, find where that deep-rooted problem is, and start, peeling it like an onion, and realize you had no control during this time. This person, did something to you for no apparent reason, or whatever the reason they thought they had to do it.
Yeah.
And you have no control. If you had no control, you don't blame yourself for it. Don't devalue yourself, because it's really that person that has a worthiness problem.
Exactly. But I think it's hard when you're the victim of, where it's being taken out on you. And you're absolutely right. Most bullies, they're treating others because they have major, self-worth issues. So it gives them kind of, I think, a power or control. But it's very hard when you're the recipient of that.
Yes.
Because you think that you're the problem. Yeah.
Yeah, and it isn't.
Yes, I know.
And, everybody, like I said, wants to be a Ken or a Barbie doll. They think that's normal. But it's not. And, everyone is valuable. Everybody out there is valuable.
Yes.
And like I said earlier, everyone has a purpose in life.
Yeah.
And it's not to be living a life that you're repeating in your mind of you that you think you're not worthy.
Right.
There's so many bright people who think they're not worthy.
Yeah.
And that's what's really sad.
Yeah. And that's where the job market is hard. I'm constantly trying to tell people, like, since I lost my husband, I was always defined by my career. And, I still like what I do. I love to write. I love doing communications. But I've learned that, my title doesn't matter. How much money I make doesn't matter. people presence is what all that matters to me, and peace, and having peace in my life. But I think when you're unemployed, you personalize it. Well, what is wrong with me? Why did they let me go? And the reality, even myself, like, it wasn't me. I wasn't laid off because of me. I was laid off. It was a business decision. The company was going in a new direction, and they needed to cut costs and then bring in other people. But it's very hard to internalize that when it's you. And I think our natural inclination is, okay, something's wrong with me. It's me, but it's not you.
It's
and
not.
if you can like separate that, and you can really think about, okay, this has nothing to do with me. This was not rejection. This was protection and redirection. That's how I try to look at things all the time.
Exactly. So with wrapping up, with what else do you want to briefly share? Because we're going to get into your offer. That people listening, especially employers, about mental health impact of layoffs and restructuring, to truly support those people going through this experience.
So what I would love, and we don't need resume. When you're laid off, like let's say 5 years ago, companies would give you like outplacement services to help you with your resume and networking opportunities. Because of AI, you don't need those services anymore. Because if you embrace AI could be your little resume assistant, rewriting your resume, or even helping you, prepare for mock interviews. So what I think would be wonderful is if companies started thinking about, even if it was just 4 weeks of, just some mental health support, because a lot of times people can't afford COBRA, and they can't afford insurance. So wouldn't it be great if a company had a relationship with an outside firm that they could offer, 4 to 8 weeks where that person had someone to talk to? I think that would just be an amazing thing if employers could, maybe look at doing something like that and stop wasting money on, outplacement services, because you don't really need that anymore.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That's a wonderful idea. Thank you, Lauren.
Yeah.
So what is your offer of my audience today?
Yeah. So this is not my book. It's an anthology book. So this was the book that I was published in 2022. And, and it was interesting because the job market really started tanking like 2024, 25. It was just starting to be bad. And it was interesting because when I was talking to the publisher about what I was going to write about, I said, the job market seems a little iffy right now. So maybe this would help people. And the beautiful part about this book, it's 14 women. They're all stories about how we stood strong together. And the beautiful thing about the stories, no story is the same. There's someone who lost her mother and her dog all in the same week. There's someone who went through human trafficking when they were younger.
Oh, no.
And I did this book with my best friend since I was 7. She called me and she said, Lauren, do you want to be in the book with me? So the story is all about what I went through. And it is very raw. I explain exactly how I felt, but then I explain how day 372, I woke up and I was fine. So I would like to gift this to someone. I even have a copy right here. I have multiple copies.
Yeah.
I have a ton of them in my garage, and many times when I meet someone, I always keep one in my purse because you never know. Someone could use to be uplifted. So yes, I like to give this to someone, and all I need is their address, and I will send it in the mail to them.
Yeah, so you can email Lauren for a copy of this book at L for Lauren, her last name, RAGUZIN 123@gmail.com, and she'll send that book out to you.
Yeah.
And this is a wonderful offer, and I'm in an anthology too, so it's just like soul cleaning to do these chapters in a book. I gotta tell you that much.
Yeah.
So, Lauren, thank you for being on my show.
Yes, thank you so much.
And would you like to be on my show again as a guest?
Oh, I would love to. And I'm going to recommend that others, get in touch with you, Debbie. This has been just wonderful experience. You're a great interviewer, and you clearly, you're just all about health and wellness. And it's really important for us to talk about this.
Yes, it is. That's why I have this show.
Yeah.
So thank you. I will have you back then. Please stick around for closing remarks, okay?
Sure.
Okay. Now, remember, I do revitalize people's lives in many different areas of health and mindset. I start off with your gut and your mindset, but I do help you with brain and heart, blood sugar, hormones, bone and joint, and immunity. And I help people who are from athletes, anxious to athletes, because I am guiding you to clean, toxic-free foods and high-quality essential nutrient products that will reduce symptoms. You'll feel better. You will may release additional weight like I did. I released an additional 20 pounds that made it 70. And it's going to uplift your mood. With my mindset coaching, I help you release that stress, that emotion, and emotional entanglements that happened in the past. And I'm there as you're reshaping your core beliefs, if you have any issues. And your mindset will be enhanced. And with my health optimization and weight release, your body's going to be so much more efficient. So that's the mind-body solution that makes your heart and soul sing. So ask me about my program, set up a complimentary consultation at Debi Changes Lives. That's DEBICHANGESLIVE as in victory, ES.com/Linktree, LINKTREE. And when you do that, you get to know me. I get to know you. And I'll guide you to your optimal health. And it first starts with 1 or 2 assessments. The first one is actually health evaluation, where you rate your symptoms in the last 30 days in 4 categories of health. Some questions are in multiple categories, answer them all. I review it with, and you'll get a baseline score. I'll review it with you, and I'll create that custom, natural, holistic strategy for you in areas of mind, body, and soul. And we will approve upon your score and make it better every month. Now, I also have 2 different type of body scans. I prefer to do the Zero Link because I can send it remotely and internationally. I've sent it to Australia and South Africa. Now, the Zero Link is a transdermal optical imaging app. I send a link to your phone where you can scan your face for 30 seconds. It's going directly into your skin to look up blood flow for components of energetic, functional, emotional, and different body systems and lifestyles. That emotional one is such a hidden gem because it connects an emotion to a body organ based on Chinese medicine. So anger is connected to the liver. There's some food for thought there. And but what this report you're going to get is not a diagnosis. It's a wellness report where you have biomarkers out of range and products and services that brought back into range. It's quite intensive. It does cost $75, and I will review it with you. If you move forward with a program or a product, I give you a $25 credit. The Vizira Link is a transdermal optical imaging app, also known as TOI, and you look up its accuracy of PubMed.gov. That's PUBMED.gov. And it is accurate. People are really amazed what their body tells them through this scanning. You'll be too curious. Get your own scan done, or just simply ask me questions at my consultation site. Also on the site are many programs. These are 3. Take Your Body Back is a 12-week weight release mindset coaching program where you can be utilizing a new version of you for your success. All coaching is done on Zoom. And the first one's always private to you because I am a certified HIPAA health practitioner. Any health assessment is private to you. I go through those assessments. I give you a choice for 3 programs. One is a natural approach to the GLP-1 with no injections. You choose one of those 3 programs, and I'll give you your directions. And I also give you instructions how to create that new version of you in an avatar board that will drive you with emotion and passion to achieve your health and weight and transformational goals throughout your journey. The rest of the coaching is the same, whether it's group or private. We'll be celebrating your wins. I'll be showing you how to use your boards, and I'll guide you over gaps with health and mindset tips. You will become a new you. You need to ask me questions at my consultation about this program because it has changed over the years. Why Fast is an intermittent fasting program that gets your cells and body humming and in turn boosts your metabolism with rich, dense nutrition and high-quality essential nutrients. And it's a program of exercises and recipes as well. Here you can ask me questions about it. If you feel like you need some coaching, you can do a 4 or 2 week program that you pay for, and it's up to you if you want to pay for more. You can use the smaller programs for mindset enhancement as well as health optimization, but truly those are longer term journeys. But at least these smaller programs can maybe help me create a custom program for you. And my offer for my audience today is NewCom. You can go to the next slide, please. NewCom is a patented neuroscience technology designed to help you balance your nervous system. So it takes you out of that fight, and freeze mode, that fear, and puts you into parasympathetic digest mode. And you're going to be able to perform at your best. And it has multiple apps in it. You can actually sleep better with Deep Sleep and Deep Sleep Plus. You can actually release tension in your neck and stress with Rescue. There's apps for focus as well. And there's several apps for energy. There's one called Unite, which is great for running. I've actually experienced some really wonderful things running in the heat, which I don't like. It gets me through it and I feel fine. But there's also something called Power Nap, which is a 20-minute nap that gives you restorative sleep and gives you energy. I'm offering my clients and my radio audience a 15% lifetime discount, and there's a 30-day money-back guarantee. You can use that QR code or go to bit.ly, bit.ly/NewCom, spelled with a capital N, lowercase u, capital CALM. Lifetime and discount both have capital letters at the beginning, and that's what that link is. So ask me more about that program. Finally, learn more about alternative health. Programs, products, services, and offers, articles, blogs, upcoming shows, events, and promos by subscribing to my newsletter, which is at Debi Changes Lives, DebiChangesLives, victoryes.com. This time /radio TV show, all is one word, lowercase, and I give you a gift, a 30-day health and mindset daily action journal, where you can list your gratitudes, thoughts, feelings, emotions, food, water, supplements, and exercise you do on a daily basis. You can even track your measurements. Then you want to view it on a daily, weekly, monthly basis, see your wins and celebrate them. Find your gaps to work on. If you need some help bridging that gap, you contact me for coaching. This journal is a great health and mindset awareness tool. I'm certain that you found this show educational and enjoyed it and learned a lot from it. Reach out to me for my services, programs, products, and offers, and that wonderful offer for 15% lifetime discount on NewCom. Reach out to Lauren for her wonderful book, and feel free to ask her questions too if you want. And do we have some time for Lauren to come back? So, do you have anything else to say?
I'd say that was a great overview of everything you provide, and there's two things I would say. I think we don't realize sometimes how much stress and anxiety plays on our nervous system and our gut and everything. Mm-hmm. So I think it's very important for just overall self-care and wellness. And the only other thing I would say is, and I do this periodically, I'll go into my LinkedIn connections and, maybe there's someone I have not heard from or talked to in a while. And I do this like once a week. I pick 2 people and I just send them a note. And I just said, hi, just want to see how you're doing. Haven't talked to you in a while. And here's the most amazing thing when you do that. Many times they write back and they said, Lauren, thank you so much for reaching out. I was just laid off. Lauren, I just went through a divorce. Lauren, this, that. So all I would say is that, human connection. Mm-hmm. Forget about just texts. You haven't heard from a friend in a long time. Pick up the phone
and call.
Because
I can hear it in your voice that you really care.
I do. And I just, human connection is, we live in a world, Debbie, it's all technology. It's texting and, like birthdays. I don't get people all the time, but I call them on their birthday. Because there is, everyone can send a text, everyone can, post on Facebook, but, you never know. Someone might be going through something really difficult.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Well, you've been a great guest. I will have you back.
Oh, thank you. This was a wonderful experience. I really appreciate the time.
So continue to enjoy my radio and TV show, Debbie Changes Lives, on Thursdays at 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern, where your holistic journey begins.